Engines 11, 33, ladder 31, battalion 31, multifamily automatic fire alarm, and report smell smoke.
Welcome to the IMS Alliance Passport Accountability System. My name is Mark Emery, a Battalion Chief with Woodinville Fire and Rescue in King County, Washington. The purpose of this video is to train you in the use of the IMS Alliance Passport Accountability System and introduce you to strategic tools we'll be using throughout this video, including passports and status boards. These tools will be used to ensure that your fireground operations are intelligent, safe, and strategically competent. Personnel accountability is not a new concept, yet many fire departments continue to struggle with its implementation. This video will demonstrate how to integrate accountability into your incident management system so that it will become an essential component for managing strategy, resources, and risk. I will also introduce you to a concept we call tactical accountability. Quite simply, tactical accountability means anyone on the fireground in a strategic position as well as in a tactical position will know who is there, where they are, and what they are doing at all times. If your current accountability system does not help you achieve and maintain tactical accountability, your system is flawed and incomplete. The problem of achieving and maintaining personnel accountability is twofold. First, current systems are reactive, not proactive, and second, there are no set best practices. Virtually all personnel accountability systems will tell you who is at the incident. Some can tell you where people are. This system has been designed to help you track who is there, where they are, and what they are doing, not just some of the time, but all of the people, all of the time. Most accountability systems have been designed as reactive systems rather than proactive. These systems only become valuable when a firefighter is missing or dead. Using IMS Alliance passports and status boards to proactively achieve and maintain tactical accountability will ensure that your firefighters are not missing and that it's always a round trip back to the fire station. Achieving and maintaining tactical accountability is not just my opinion, it is the national consensus. NFPA 1561 5.3.10 states that the incident commander shall maintain an awareness of the location and function of all companies or units at the scene of the incident. It goes on to say in 5.8.9.2, this awareness shall serve as the basic means of accountability that shall be required for operational safety. Unfortunately, these standards and mandates don't tell you how to comply. Compliance is up to the authority having jurisdiction. In other words, your fire department must decide how to comply. We believe that fire officers should be just as competent using strategic tools as your firefighters are using their tactical tools. Here's the bottom line. If you don't know who's there, where they are, and what they are doing at all times throughout an incident, exactly what have you been managing? IMS Alliance passports and strategic tools will help you achieve and maintain tactical accountability and establish best practices to ensure you will not have missing and dead firefighters. The basic components of the passport accountability system are name tags, passport collectors, and helmet shields. The relationship of these three components is very simple. The designator of your helmet shield must match the designator of the passport that holds your name tag. For example, if your name tag is attached to the ladder 31 passport, your helmet shield should show ladder 31. There are three passports used in the system: white or primary, red, which is the backup, and green, which is the reserve. The white passport is in play during an incident. The red backup passport remains at the apparatus. The green reserve passport stays in the fire station. The goal is for each company passport to be assembled by a fire officer so that it shows the correct representation of each member assigned to that team. As long as no one changes the name tags on the passport and the company officer or team leader keeps the team together, that team is now accounted for. No matter where they go, somebody outside the hazard area will know who they are, where they are, and what they are doing. And this can all be achieved without batteries, without software, and without computers, and is an added benefit with a very short and shallow learning curve. Let's talk about name tag arrangement on the passport. You've got the officer, driver, and firefighters assigned to that team. At the very top goes the officer or team leader. Below the officer or team leader is the driver. Below the driver are any other team members, or in this case firefighters, assigned to that team. In this case, we have a company or team of 4. Officer, driver, again, 2 firefighters. If a member is at the apparatus, that member's name tag is upside down. In this case, the driver's name tag is upside down, which means once this passport is in play, that member is not with the team, the member is with the apparatus. Again, in this case, it's the driver. So in and around the hazard area, there would be 3 people. This is important. If a member is no longer a part of this team, the name tag of that member must be removed and transferred to the individual that the firefighter is now reporting to. Let's talk about a career fire department application of passports. When setting up the passports in the fire station, it's usually the responsibility of the driver of that apparatus, in this case, Truck 31. So that driver in the morning would arrange the name tags on the passports. Ultimately, though, the company officer, that top name tag, is responsible for passports and for name tag accuracy in the field. For example, when this passport is surrendered to the incident commander, staging area manager, perhaps a division supervisor, the expectation is when I receive that passport, that officer has made sure the name tags are accurate. In this case, since I've got one name tag upside down, remember that indicates it's the driver at the apparatus, perhaps at the pump panel, that when I receive this passport, I should see 3 people standing there because there are 3 right side up name tags. If the driver's coming with the team, that company officer turns the name tag right side up. Now I should see 4 people standing there because there are 4 right side up name tags. Now this is really cool. This is something that allows more versatility and on the fly with these passports. Hidden behind Truck 31's passport is Truck 31 Team B or Team Bravo. What I'm going to do now is demonstrate how I make a 4-person team into 2 2-person teams on the fly. So what the driver would do in the morning, if there's 4 people or more, is take 2 name tags off of Truck 31, decide who can be the team leader of Team Bravo, piggyback those onto Truck 31. Now I've got 1 team with 4 personnel. However, if I want to quickly split that 4-person company into 2 teams, I can quickly do that on the fly. I've now got 1 team called Truck 31, team leader, 2 members, and I've got another team called Truck 31 Team Bravo with 2 members. So 2 teams that I can each give an assignment to, or I can piggyback Truck 31 Team Bravo back onto Truck 31. That represents 1 team called Truck 31. For volunteer fire departments, passports are the perfect tool for accounting for companies before they respond. As volunteers arrive at the station, they place their name tag on the green station passport, then place a second name tag on the white primary and the third name tag on the red backup passports on the apparatus. As a reminder, as long as no one alters the name tags on the passport and the company officer or team leader keeps that team together when they arrive, that team is now accounted for no matter where they go and no matter what they're doing. Once passport accuracy is established and the team leader keeps the team together, Personnel accountability becomes automatic. Let's look at how passports can be used by the first on-scene officer to comply with NFPA 1021 Fire Officer 1. Fire Officer 1 states that the strategic responsibility of the first on-scene officer is to develop an initial action plan based on size-up information and assigned resources. IMS Alliance offers 2 boards designed to help your fire officers nail that strategic responsibility: the Suppression Board and the ITAC First On Scene Board. Let's start with the Fire Suppression Board. The Fire Suppression Board guides your fire officer through the entire First On Scene strategic process, beginning with size-up and ending with drafting an initial incident action plan. Starting with building construction, there are prompts to consider: type of building construction, is it lightweight, status of life safety, what is the risk level, is there property value, and what's the operational mode. Then the officer lists problems identified during that size-up. The key on this board is this list right here. The officer has identified the problems using status board shorthand. You have fire on floor 2, smoke on floor 2, smoke attic, possible occupants floor 2, possible occupants floor 1, exposure floor 1 where the most property value is because there's no fire or smoke there, and we have an exterior exposure, which is exposure Bravo. Now all the officer needs to do is draft the initial action plan to solve that list of problems. So fire on 2, we're going to do confine and extinguish, and we're going to assign somebody fire attack on floor 2. What about the smoke on floor 2, smoke in the attic? Smoke on floor 2, smoke attic, we're going to do offensive vertical ventilation. Possible occupants on 2, we're going to do primary search. Possible occupants on floor 1 and the exposure floor 1, we're going to combine those 2 problems, assign them to one company to evacuate and do salvage on floor 1. We're going to get a rapid intervention team, and we're going to stabilize the Bravo exposure. There's your action plan. Implementation of that plan. In our plan, remember we had confine and extinguish. We are going to plug engine 33 into that objective, and we know they're going to enter side A, work on floor 2. Engine 11, they did water supply. They're the backup team, also side A, floor 2. For offensive vertical ventilation, from the Alpha Delta corner, all we're going to do is plug in truck 31, and that's their assignment and their location. Another option for nailing that first due responsibility is the ITAC First On Scene Board. This board's been designed to also walk the first officer on scene through the strategic process that'll produce problem list from your size-up and the initial action plan based on that size-up information. And again, that's from NFPA 1021 Fire Officer 1. Down the left side are 4 boxes. That guides the officer in a 4-box process that starts with the arrival report, size-up or in fireground investigation, then the investigation report, and then establish command. 4-box process. Now here's the business part of the board. Again, we have problems listed. This time they're down the center of the board, and we have the same problems listed. We've got fire 2, smoke 2, smoke in the attic, possible occupants 2, possible occupants 1, etc. And we're using shorthand on these, if you've noticed. And that we use shorthand so you don't have to have your head down writing. And in fact, on the website, on the ITAC branch, you can find a status board shorthand document that you can print. So for example, fire on 2, we're going to do confine and extinguish from side A on floor 2. What that means is the team is going to enter side A and they're going to do that work on floor 2. Once I plug a passport into that assignment, engine 11 is now tactically accounted for. Engine 11 is the who, confine and extinguish is the what, from side A on floor 2 is the where. So we know engine 11 is doing confine and extinguish, entering side A, working on floor 2, boom, they're tactically accounted for. And as you plug passports into your initial action plan, each team is tactically accounted for. Primary search, side A, floor 2, we're going to plug engine 27 into that action plan when they arrive, and boom, off they go. You tell engine 27, primary search, side A, floor 2. You've just told them what they're going to do, where they're going to enter, where they're going to search. Now let's talk about staging and rehab. IMS Alliance has two boards for the management of staging and rehab. First is the ITAC Staging Area Manager Board. The ITAC Staging and Manager Board has two sides. We're going to first talk about what we call the front. On the front of the board, the Staging Area Manager would list the command post name or operations name if there was an operations section chief. This is important over here. It's called minimum ready. That's a prompt for the Staging Area Manager to ask operations or the incident commander, how many teams do you want ready for assignment in staging at all times? If that drops below that number, the Staging Area Manager would say, for example, if the ready number was 4 teams and it got down to 3, staging would call the incident commander or operations and say, you're down to 3 in the ready area. The incident commander then could make a decision, well, things are winding down, that's okay, or I better order another alarm for more resources. On this part of the board, this is the business part of the board right here. And what happens here is as a company comes into staging, let's say it's engine 44. Engine 44 is listed here and their time in. If they're ready for assignment and they're going to be sent to Division A, the Staging Area Manager would write what time they left staging and that they were sent to Division A, just put an A there. Engine 44 could be tracked 3 times in and out of staging, and if they reappear at staging again, they can just fit in later on down the line. This is really a significant event. If it gets bigger beyond this board, there's a prompt at the bottom that if this board is too small for staging, you should probably have software like Salamander software for managing multiple resources on a significant event. Let's go to the back of the board. On the back of the board is where the passports come into this game. As a team withdraws from the building and reports to their passport, let's say Division A has a team's passport, as they report to that division supervisor, the supervisor gives them their passport, says go to staging. They get to staging, they surrender their passport to Staging Area Manager. Staging Area Manager hangs the passport upside down. That means that team is unavailable for assignment. They're in rehab, getting new air cylinders, getting some fluids. The right side up passports means they are ready for assignment. Remember I said 4 teams ready at all times? We've got 4 teams ready in staging right now because the passports are right side up. Division A calls and says, send me an exchange team. Calls staging, says staging, Division A, 1 exchange team. The Staging Area Manager looks at the board, says engine 44, report to Division A. Hands the passport to engine 44 team leader and says report to Division A. The team leader and the team members, they take off and they proceed to go to the Division A supervisor. Once they arrive at Division A, the Division A supervisor will plug their passport into their assignment and location on the Division A board, face-to-face verbally say engine 44, whatever your objective is, this is where you're going to enter, this is where you're going to work. They're tactically accounted for again. As mentioned, passports and status boards work equally well for both career and volunteer fire departments. It doesn't matter if your volunteers respond to the station or respond from home directly to the incident scene or a combination. For example, I've set up a status board where the first officer on scene identified the problems and drafted that initial action plan. Some companies have already arrived that responded from fire stations, so they have white passports, which means there's an apparatus corresponding to those teams. Notice I've put 2 blue passports on the board. Those are called phantom teams, indicated by blue, and the fact that there's not an engine or a truck or a ladder or a squad designator, it's a team designator. In this case, I've got Team 1 and it's blue, that's a phantom team. No apparatus is associated with that team. As volunteers arrive from home, they report to the incident commander or even possibly Staging Area Manager, and they hand the Staging Area Manager or incident commander their name tag. For example, Sherman Tank shows up. Sherman is a team member but is not qualified to be a team leader, so I plug Sherman in down below where the first name tag is going to go. Later, Teriyaki arrives. Teriyaki's qualified to be a team leader. We're going to plug Terry's name tag into the team leader spot. Now I've got a team of 2 and I can give them that assignment, which is already on the board, their what and their where. If it's an assignment that requires more than 2 people, I just wait till another name tag shows up, plug it in. Now I've got a team of 3. I can give them the assignment. They're tactically accounted for. I've got who, the designator is team 1, their assignment, and their location of working. If another fire department arrives and they don't have passports or helmet shields, you can quickly create passports, helmet shields, and name tags on the fly using an IMS Alliance makeup kit. In addition to ICS boards and passports, IMS Alliance provides other products that work in coordination for increased safety on the fire ground, such as ICS reflective vests and reflective helmet shields. Let's leave the fire station to demonstrate how IMS Alliance passports and status boards will help you herd the cats during an incident and help you to be a competent and confident incident manager in the field. This demonstration will show the integration of passports into the incident management system and the progression of passports on the fire ground. After investigating the fire ground, also referred to as size up, and drafting the initial action plan, the officer in charge begins implementing that initial action plan as subsequent companies arrive. The team from the on-scene apparatus reports to the initial incident commander. The officer delivers the team's passport to the initial incident commander, and as the passport is surrendered to the incident commander, the IC conveys their assignment face-to-face. And as you know, the optimal method of communication on the fire ground is face-to-face. Along with their objective, the assignment includes where the team will enter and where the team will work. The passport is plugged into the action plan, which was drafted on the status board. Once the passport has been plugged into the assignment, that team is now tactically accounted for, who they are, what they're doing, and where they are. The passport represents the who, the tactical objective represents the what, and the location of entry and area of work being done represents the where. As you can see, the spirit and intent of NFPA 1561 and NFPA 1021 supervision compliance have been achieved. The team then proceeds into the building to initiate their assignment. In this case, their assignment was to investigate and report from Site A on Floor 3. Notice the use of the words from and on. These 2 words ensure that geographic tactical accountability is achieved. The team enters from Site A and investigates conditions on Floor 3. Unless otherwise directed, as additional companies arrive, they should report to the incident commander with tools, equipment, and perhaps extra air cylinders and their passport. When the battalion chief arrives and assumes command, he designates the initial incident commander as lobby division. We're going to make you lobby division, and I'm going to get you 4 teams. If additional teams are needed, they would be told to report to lobby division, or the company's crew or apparatus could be directed to another side of the building or directed to remain with their apparatus during the investigation. The lobby division supervisor tells each team what they will be doing and where they will be working. The lobby designation was used so that team leaders would know where to find the supervisor, not necessarily where they would be working. That assignment will be made by the supervisor. The division supervisor obtains each team's passport, plugs each passport into the suppression board, and the division supervisor conveys each team's work location and what their objective is. They are tactically accounted for, who they are, what they're doing, and where they're doing it. Here's a strategic tip. Be sure not to allow your division and group supervisors to freelance strategically. They should be provided with a piece of your overall action plan as the incident commander. Although these 2 boards work well in most situations, IMS Alliance can customize and produce a board according to your specific specification.
Thank you.
Thank you for choosing IMS Alliance passports and strategic status boards. And thank you for considering integrated tactical accountability. Your fire department needs to know how to achieve and maintain tactical accountability throughout an incident. By using IMS Alliance passports, status boards, and other strategic tools, you can quickly achieve and maintain tactical accountability. By doing so, you are establishing a standard of care that will help ensure that everybody truly does go home. Your fire officers must be just as skilled with their strategic tools as your firefighters are with their tactical tools. Of course, to do so, your fire officers must have access to strategic tools that they can use. You can do it. Your fire officers can do it. Let us know what we can do to help. We appreciate your time, your trust, and your support. If you have questions or would like more information, visit www.imsalliance.com. My name is Mark Emery, and on behalf of IMS Alliance, thank you and take care.